Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to Stash Busters, you guys. My name is Bradie, and I'm from Sparrow Quilt Company. We are streaming live from my quilt shop here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I really shouldn't call it my quilt shop. I own it with Matt and with Landon, and there's lots of us that work here, so I do have to share ownership, but sometimes it feels like it's mine, all mine. How are you all doing today? Are you guys all ready to put this beautiful quilt together? Some of you have worked ahead, I noticed, in the Sparrow Quilt Co. Daily group. I've been seeing some pictures coming through. Those of you who will put your full quilt tops together, was it Laura that shared hers? She made it in the beautiful Yes Please fabrics by Riley Blake, which she ordered from us. Thanks for that, Laura. And set them on a nice light pink background, which was perfect to go with her rose gold fabrics. I thought it was just lovely. So make sure you join us in the Sparrow Quilt Co. Daily group so that you too can share your progresses through your projects, so we can all ooh and ah over your beautiful fabrics. And there's just a really fun sense of community there in that page. So just search it on Facebook. It's called Sparrow Quilt Co. Daily, and it's just a community of quilters, and you're all sharing pictures and your fabrics and all that good stuff that I just finished saying. Do you all have your free Stash Busters pattern? The pattern we are finishing up this week is called Shuffle. You can get that by visiting our website at sparrowquiltco.com, or you can click the link above this video, put your email address in, and we will email you the free pattern. This will be your final week to do so. Starting next Friday, we'll have something fresh and new. So the quilts that we are working on, you can see it on display here behind me. The one I'm currently working on is on display in front of me. I am using the Christmas Delivery fabric line by Riley Blake, which is a mix of traditional colors, reds, greens. We got a little bit of black in there and some gray, which in itself is a little bit different, but it's a really cute, kind of nostalgic feeling line. I am a big fan, and I'm excited to have this quilt ready for my home for Christmas. Now, you guys don't forget to share. I would love for you to share this video and then come back and comment that you shared. We're going to do a giveaway. The other day I was thinking I should give away this. And now I can't remember what it was going to be. You ponder for a moment. We'll have a fabulous prize at the end of the show. We got to wrap things up a little bit early today, guys, because Matt and I have an appointment. So I'm just going to get into the sewing, but don't forget to share, and don't forget to come back and comment that you've shared. And let me know where you're watching from today, please. I want to know where you're watching from. So what I had to do over the past couple of weeks, in week 1, we did all our cutting. We cut out all the bricks, all the 5x10 main print bricks. Then we cut out strips. Some were 1.5, some were 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5. And we are going to attach them on either side of our brick prints. And that's what makes the quilt shuffle back and forth. I've seen quite a few comments on Facebook from those of you who are maybe a little OCD, and it just makes you a little bit crazy. And that's okay, I understand. I feel like that about like wonky log cabins. They make my eyes go crazy. And you're going to laugh at me because we've actually got one coming up. Sheila designed a really pretty one, and it's not too wonky, so I'm going to be able to live with it. All right. It's not too wonky. No, it's just like night. When they go back and forth like 3 or 4 times, it just makes my eyes, I don't know, I can't handle it. Yeah, well, and they all just have a gentle, but when it's like a inside, and it just keeps going, I don't know, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. All right, you guys. So what we've done is sewn a 1.5 and a 4.5 on either side of a print brick. And then we've also sewn a 3.5 and a 2.5 on either side of a print brick. And so then what we're going to do is take one of each, and we're going to sew them together. And it doesn't matter if it's like that, doesn't matter if it's like that. Either way you sew it, you're going to get a little bit of a shuffle. So you can just kind of lay them out. I laid them out in strips of 15, and then I would sew that entire row together. And then if I laid it next to another row and there was 2 colors too close to one another, I would just take one entire row and rotate it. So it's a very forgiving quilt. The only place we're going to be matching seams is when we join one row to the next, and we're going to be joining those little intersections right there. And I'm going to be using my seam-align glue today, and I'm going to be pressing everything with my flatter pen, not flatter, easy press pen. And everything is going to be straight and flat. and beautiful, except for my plaids. They're not straight. Are they, Landon? Nope. She says, I'm trying not to let this bother me, that these are not straight. Said, I admire your efforts. Thank you. All right. So I've just got them beside my sewing machine here. The two different types of bricks that I'm going to be joining together. I'll take one from one pile, one from the next, and we're just going to start sewing them together. And we are going to do them in sets of 2. You'll need, make 7 sets of 2, and then you'll add a single to each one. Got to save a couple singles. Don't put them all together in pairs, because then you won't have that 15th brick for the bottom or top of each row. So today I am sewing, stop. I am sewing on my sweet little Eversewn 30. Oh, I love me some fork pins, Laura. I'm just trying to adjust my needle position, and it needs to be in the highest position before. Yeah, I've got it up, but it's still. I did. I don't know why it's not working. It's not moving to the side, and I don't want it to smash into my. There we go. Now it's come right over. So that's middle. Seam-Align glue is a really cool little product. It's this little bottle of glue you see right here. It's taking the place of pins for me. Never pin again is the top line on the description on the back. So it's just a really easy to apply glue that you put right at your intersections, and then you press the 2 fabrics together, set it with your iron really quick, and then it takes the place of pins. And what's good is pins kind of bulk up the intersection when you're sewing over it. So sometimes it's hard to keep it moving under the presser foot. And there we go. Now she's working with me. The Seam-Align glue just reduces that bulk, and it makes it so that we don't have to sew over pins. And I am not really a fraidy cat of that, but everybody watching is always concerned that I'm going to break a needle and it's going to fly into my eye or something terrible. So I am trying to look at ways of being a little bit safer. Seems smart, right? So there's no points, no seams to match up when you're joining these bricks together. You can literally just line them up end to end and off you go. Just make sure that you're keeping your edges lined up nice and straight. And sew with your 1/4 inch seam allowance. And before you know it, you'll be done like dinner. So I'm sewing on this little Eversewn, and it's a fairly mechanical machine. It does have a little computerized display, but it's just a nice lightweight little machine. We checked the box the other day. It only weighs 13.5 pounds, so it's perfect for going to retreats or classes or whatnot. But I am really enjoying using this machine at work here, and I went home the other night to try and get this project a little closer to ready for this morning. And my big fancy machine at home, I'm not even going to discuss the brand, but it's worth like $5,000 brand new. It froze up because it's so computerized, and I turn it on, nothing happens. Like the screen comes on, but I just can't sew. Nothing, it won't work. So I turn it off, turn it back on, cleaned it out, took it all apart. Nothing is working. So I'm quite enjoying the simplicity of this nice little Eversewn at the moment. I'm a little fed up with fancy schmancy. So we're just working on the Stash Busters quilt today. You can see it on display behind me. This is an older version that Darcy made for the shop. and it was made out of the Glamperlicious line by Riley Blake. That fabric is long gone, but I'm doing a new one in this Christmas delivery line of fabrics, and they're so pretty. I'm just really loving them. But it's super simple, super easy. We got a call from a lady who's a little bit north of us, about 3 hours north of us, and she is teaching a whole slew of kids to quilt. There are 21 of them, and they're all making this quilt. And so they called to see if we could help them with the finishing part, you know, the long arm quilting, which we do. So I was just so honored and thrilled to hear that she was teaching them our shuffle quilt pattern. Isn't that awesome? What a perfect quilt for beginners. And it's nice and big. I believe it's 75 inches square. So that'll be a good size quilt. For a young person especially. I have not. I've never even heard of that one. So the question was, have I ever tried the clearly perfect slotted trimmers? Interesting. I've never heard of that one. I'm going to make a note to myself about that. I really like to check out products when people tell me about them because I don't have time to look up everything. And it's nice when people share great products with me. My friend Joanne Schneider up in Athabasca told me about these woolly pressing mats, and then Landon and Matt picked them up when they went down to Portland. And I just love it. I love it. So thanks, Joanne, for recommending that for us. Clearly perfect slotted trimmer. All right, I'm going to check that out. Recommended. See what I can find out, okay? Is it a product you use? I'm sorry, I don't know who asked the question, but are you recommending it or are you curious about it? Okay, cool. I'll check it. What's that? No, they're not. Yeah, even my big Janome is fairly mechanical. Like it's just got a simple LED screen like this one has. No, computerized screen I would call this. But it's still simple enough mechanically that it doesn't rely on the computerized portion. So I'm going to have to take it over to my competitor for service. Should I go under alias, I wonder? What's that? No, probably not. I could just go under my first name and my maiden name, and maybe they don't know what I look like. It's pretty hard to believe. Darcy's boyfriend walks in the other day, and he's like, "Hey, I know you from Facebook." And he's not even a quilter. All right, we're just continuing along. I'm sewing together these bricks that are going to make up the Stash Busters quilt, just like the one you see behind me here. It is the most simple quilt ever. The first one I made, I did it in a day. So that just tells you how quick and easy it is. If you've not yet gotten your pattern, I want you to visit us at sparrowquiltco.com. You're going to put in your name and email address, and that will prompt an email to you with the pattern attached so that you can enjoy the free pattern. And it's always nice to have that kind of pattern in your collection that is just lickety split and really fast. We all need those sometimes. All right. Now, have you guys had a chance to share? Go ahead and share this video, then come back and tell us that you've that you've shared it so that we can see that you've shared it. And we're going to give away a fun, fabulous prize at the end of the day. I'm just not sure what it is yet. All right, I just need a little break from this. So let's split these up and we'll do some pressing. Ooh. Joyce found some Christmas delivery charm packs, which is a fabulous little find. I love pre-cuts. They're literally my favorite, and I like them because half the work is done. I'm just going to raise up my table while I'm pressing. There's little knobs I'm supposed to loosen. Oh. I'm just going to make my table taller so I can press while I'm standing. Remind me to put it back down when I go back to pressing. All right, so I'm going to show you my... Do we have the other screen going? Maybe I'll bring my pressing over to that side for this part. Let's put those there. So that way you guys can see what I'm up to. Now, it's actually recommended that you don't use your wool pressing mat on top of your rotary cutting mat. So this is a matter of do as I say and not as I do. Don't press over top of your rotary mat. Okay. So if you're going to press lightly. Just on there. Just on the, okay, so just the purple mats, the Martelli brand mats. All right. So we're just on the overhead camera. Let me know if you want both. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, good. You can see what I'm doing here? Perfect. Perfect. All right, let's bring this in here. That feels a little safer. All right, so I'm going to set my seam. I always press my seam before I open up the fabric, and that just flattens the thread, makes it take up a little bit less room in the seam allowance. Oh, settle down, Bradie. Did you hear that crack? I might be killing my iron. Sorry, little iron. Now I'm going to open this up. Oh, look, that turned out pretty straight. They're going uphill a little bit. That's okay. I tried to fussy cut those. Let's get all those threads out of there. Do the threads bug everybody else? Am I the only one? I know I get a lot of renters in, and you can see them just as soon as you lay out the quilt. They're like, ah! You can't see the threads? Well, it bugs me when the threads are there. So I got to pull them out. What's that glue called? The Seam-Align glue. The glue is called Seam-Align glue. So here is what I'm going to use right now. This is the Acorn Precision Piecing System. This is the second step in the system, and it is the Easy Press pen. So it's just a refillable pen. I've got it full of the liquid that comes with it. I'm going to pull off the lid, and it has got this spring-loaded tip. So I'll show you, I can just press it in and out. And when I do that in the upside down position, it forces the liquid out of the pen. And I just smear the liquid across my seam. But Landon showed me the other day, and I'll show you this in a minute, if I put it on the other side, then it makes it open even without heat or without the iron. But this is how I have been doing it up till this point. I'll get it going a little bit there. So I just put a little blob at the beginning, and then I smear it across. And I'm not putting a lot on. You don't really need a lot. That just means the cars are driving uphill. That's right, Pamela. They are driving uphill. Mm-hmm. They're working hard to get there. So that seam is so flat now. When I should have done two at the same time. If I just do a normal pressing, I'm going to show you side by each so that you can see the difference. Open that up. And when you don't press it at all, you can see how obvious that lift is, right? That there's a bit of a fold there in the fabric, but we want it to lay nice and flat. And then that means we're getting the amount of fabric here that we are intending to get. If our fabric isn't flat and it's kind of not pressed open properly, then we don't get the precision in our piecing that we are after. And then our quilt doesn't measure what it should. Things don't line up properly. And I'm a big fan of precision. I really want things to be done properly and nicely. This fabric is expensive and it takes me a lot of time to do this stuff. So I really do my best to get it awesome and as precise as I possibly can. So are you able to see there, do you think, Elle? Do I need to lift it up a little bit? You can see how it's lifting a little bit here, even though I have pressed it. So I will now come along with my Easy Press pen and make it super flat like this one is here. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the liquid is. I suspect it is just a starch of some kind. And don't worry, if you apply it light enough, it won't leave any residue behind. The very first time I put it on, I really put on a fair amount, and I could see like a residue left behind. It was a little bit flaky. So you'll only do that once, and then you'll be a little bit more frugal with it, we'll say, after that. So now I want to show you the way that Landon showed me. She took her pieces and laid them out like this. And then before even doing anything else, she ran the pen along the thread. So I haven't even opened it up yet. I haven't even pressed it open. So this might actually be a little bit, not even a little bit. This will be faster, I think. So not even pressing, she took it open and just finger pressed it. And look how flat it is. Even without the pressing, it got really, really flat because the starch or the Easy Press magic liquid is in there and it's making those fibers just behave themselves. Now I'm going to press it just to make it super flat. So that's even easier. I think I'm going to do it that way from now on and then press as needed. Like it just lays so flat. And it's really noticeable on, say, these little guys here. When your fabric is so thin there, you can see I've not used my pen there. And it's just got that curve in it. It's not laying flat. And we can kind of counteract that by just holding everything flat while we're sewing. But why not use our magic pen? There we go. So now we'll just flip that open. And good morning. Then I'll just press it after. Even though it was nice and flat, I probably didn't even need to. Oh, Heather, smarty. Why don't I take a peek? Okay. Let's pop that open. Look at this black one. This is my favorite fabric in the whole line. I love it. I don't know why. I love this little flower right here that kind of looks like a star. But the black background makes those red flowers just pop so much. I do love the little trucks too, though. All right, Heather, let's look at that bottle and see what it says. It says, save time while quilting in peace like an expert with the Easy Press solution. So I got to stop calling it magic liquid. Used with the Easy Press pen, seams are precise and flat, accurate piecing, easier quilting and applique. It's non-toxic. That's true. Landon says it's not food, so it probably doesn't require the ingredients to be stated. Nope. Made in Canada. Ooh. Actually, I suspected that they were Canadian because Kathy Cameron is from BC, and she said that Shelley Tobish taught her how to hand quilt 20 years ago. So local peeps do good. All right, let's keep applying this liquid. Now, of course, you can see that it is making my fabrics a little bit darker, and that's just because they're dampened. That darkening goes away as the fabric dries, so you don't have to worry about it staining. It's color safe. It just seems to dissipate out of the fabric. Pressing, although I feel like I don't really have to, because everything is already nice and flat. So now I can start. Probably. Yes, it probably will soak onto the wool pressing mat. I'm trying to keep it just nice and light. I'm not feeling anything damp. Might make it smell a little less like wool. That's not really the problem. If you know what I'm saying. When I use the wool pressing mat a lot, I start to just smell the aroma of wool, which isn't unpleasant, but you can just smell it. I'm not really sure what I'm trying to say there. So you can see here, when I start to join these into their columns, they're going to be big, long columns instead of rows. It's going to start to create that shuffle effect. Now, if I were to put this one like this, you can see I've got a couple of 2s side by each and a couple of 3s. That eliminates my shuffle. So I'm going to make sure that I am really keeping those different widths next to one another so that I still get that movement. If you don't like that movement and you want them to all be the same, then do what you want. It's your quilt. You are allowed to do whatever you want with your quilt. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Maybe that it was crooked. So I've got 7 pairs. And each one of these columns is made out of 15. So here I've got 14, right? Then I'm going to finish it off with a single. Some of the fabrics have words in them. It doesn't matter to me if they're right side up or right side down, whatever. So that's something that you may want to keep in mind as you work your way through this quilt, that you don't want the words to be upside down. So just watch for that sort of thing. I personally don't think it's the end of the world. Let's lower our table back down a wee bit. Okay. Just love this table. It's so nice and big. And I love the versatility of raising and lowering it. Plus, I love that the cutting mat is just flush with the surface, like it's a bit recessed into the surface so that it is all flat. What's that? Oh, you want it to move around? No, I don't. Oh, okay. Landon's saying it doesn't move around. Yeah, because it's trapped in that little... Yeah. You did. You sounded displeased. It doesn't move around. Oh, my table does today, though. I came in, you guys, and I went on a cleaning frenzy. I had a wide awake night, and I laid in bed thinking about how dusty my office was, so I came in this morning and cleaned it, and now everything's out of place. Oh, 16 blocks in a row. So you'll just do 5 rows across. 16 fives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, am I wrong? 2, yeah. 5 16s is 80. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. You have one folded over. 14, 15. I do. Okay. So that makes me a liar. You can discount all that crap I just said. We're going to get rid of this single, and we're going to bring in this next double. But I don't want those plaids too close to one another, so let's put that at the bottom of the pile. Thank you to whomever said that because, sorry? Laura, thank you.
Terry would like to know, about the adjustable table.
So Terry, this is my Martelli Elite table, I think it's called, and it's amazing. High density polyethylene is what the table itself is made out of, which is extremely strong. So your table will never warp or bend, and it can hold tons of weight. I was told it can hold up to 350 pounds, which is about 4 of my kids. I'm going to put them on it and do the the electric lift. It comes with that electric lift built in. It comes with the rotary cutting mat. It comes with these other cool rulers that I don't know how to use, although I should learn because there's some pretty neat tricks. Martelli is a really innovative company. They come up with the coolest ideas, and they are the ones that do that ergo rotary cutter. Lots of neat stuff. The quilting hoops that you've all seen me do. Really, really smart people down there and innovative. So yeah, they've created this table. This isn't the biggest of the three. There's one that's a bit smaller, just the size of the cutting mat.
The Advantage, the Elite, and then the one below. I just exited.
Mine is the Advantage? Okay, this size is the Advantage, and then there's one that's bigger yet that's called the Elite. And this one, I believe, can still fit through a standard doorway, which they were really proud of, so I want to make sure I mention that. Which, you know, it's on casters. It can roll around, so if you're going to roll this sucker around, you want to be able to get it somewhere, not just be stuck in your room where you built it. But what's also really cool is that it tilts. So I could put my sewing machine at this end, and there's these non-slip pads that you put underneath it. It literally cannot fall off. And you can angle it so that you're sewing really ergonomically correct, I might add. And it's just a really great table, really strong. I love that I can change the height. I love how strong it is. And the cutting mat recessed into the surface is very, very nice feature to have. It's like Landon says, it doesn't shuffle around. Shuffle. All right, just matching up my final corners before I power through this. On my pretty little Eversewn 30. Uh-oh. My seam underneath had flipped, so I just wanted to tuck it back in where it belongs. Oh, I meant to just keep chain sewing, but oh well, that's fine. Let's just go ahead and keep creating pairs here. And then we'll join all those pairs, and before we know it, we're going to have one big, tall column. How are we doing for time, Miss Elle? 11:05. What time do I have to leave?
11:15.
Okay, guys. We've only got 10 minutes left today, so take one last opportunity to share. Here's what I'm going to give away today. It's I'm going to give away one of these Acorn precision piecing systems. That's a big prize. It's a pretty big prize. But it's the last day for this quilt, and I got to cut it early. So make sure you share the video, guys, and make sure you get to the website and download your free pattern, okay? There we go. All right, our next two, this one, let's put it next to this one like this. So tomorrow we're going to have a fabric auction. If you're not familiar with our auctions, it is a reverse auction. And what we do is we list a whole bunch of fabric, and it's already started at 20% off. And then we start showing you on screen, and you can buy the items on the website. If nobody buys that item, after 10 minutes, the price drops 10%. And will continue to do so until someone buys it. So you can really get some great deals on some really pretty things. So make sure you join us tomorrow at 10:30. I've got some beautiful, not vintage, but rare Moda fabric lines. Got about 5 of those. And you can actually see all the collections on the website now. We listed everything early this week. And you can pre-buy some of them if you like. I got too many messages from people saying, would you please just sell me that ahead of time? I don't want to compete in the auction. Because the auction can get a little competitive. But it's also really fun. Well, it's fun for me to watch. That's so mean. I'm sorry. But anyways, we'll be doing that tomorrow morning at 10:30. And if you guys are looking for a skill building type of series, we do that on Wednesday mornings where I teach you a different block every single week. And this coming week is the last in our series, and then we're going to start a whole new one soon. Lots of new stuff. Next week, I'm going to do something a little bit different for Stash Busters. What's that? Yeah, I will try. Assuming I get it finished. Darcy's too busy to piece my projects now. She's got to actually work on customer stuff. So I got to do my own work, which is fine. At least I enjoy it. But I've been spoiled by Darcy's services, that's for sure. All right, let's press these. And then what you guys are just going to continue joining your bricks into columns, and then you'll join your columns into rows. And before you know it, you're going to have a nice big quilt. Nice big one. And what else do I need to tell these guys about, Elle? Am I forgetting anything? I got a ton of new fabric in store, so if you're local, come by for a visit. I'm going to try and do some more videos just showing all the pretty stuff that we got in. It's funny with fabric because you have to place your order months in advance. And so you never really know for sure when it's coming. And so yesterday I got a huge free spirit order, some Amy Butler and a new designer called Miss Mustard Seed. And then several hours later, a whole slew of Moda arrived, which I was not expecting. At least the free spirit I knew was coming. So we had to go buy new shelves yesterday. And by we, I mean Miss Estelle. And she got busy building them all. So we're working towards getting everything on display. But if you haven't been in for a while, come by for a visit. I've got lots of brand new pretty stuff to show you. All right, so I just run my Easy Press pen along that seam, and then I just lift it open, and it's very nice and flat already, but I'm just going to give it one more little cook with the iron. And that is the prize I'm giving away today, guys. I didn't get a chance to show you the glue, so I'm going to use it here in a place I wouldn't normally, but just to show you how it works. Let's join these two units to each other. Make sure those are not same. So this is my seam-align glue. You can see it's just a tiny little bottle. Are we on this other camera, Elle? Okay. And you can see that very, very narrow applicator tip. It's just a tube. And I can use it in place of pins. So what I'm going to do, I just like to clear that tube quickly before I begin to make sure that it's not blocked with any glue. And I'm going to put a tiny little dab of glue along this entire edge. And then I can bring this over and set it on top. And like I said, this isn't normally where I would pin or glue. I would be more prone to glue along this edge so that my seams will line up to each other. But I want you guys to see this, and I need to cut my show short today. So let's go ahead and just do a quick demo on how this works. So about every ½ inch, I'm just putting a little glob of glue, and it comes out in this perfect little sphere, and it just stays put so nicely, which I love. Because sometimes glue can just be a nightmare trying to work with, and it gets everywhere. And I'm always left with that little glob on top, so I like to wipe that off. But I need a scrap. Come here, you little scrap. Just a little one. Oh, I can't use the polka dots. All right, let's sacrifice this little bit of white. So I'm just going to wipe that off, and then I put my lid back on. Stay up there. So now I'm going to take this piece and just put it on top. I'm going to line up those corners really nicely. And I'm going to just kind of press the layers of fabric together as I go along the edge there. And you may see the glue kind of absorb into the fabric a little bit. It might leave just a tiny dot, but that's in your seam allowance, so it won't matter even if it does show a little bit, but I've not noticed it really lingering. So now I have got, oh geez. Didn't hold as well as I wanted it to, that's for sure. All right, so those are now glued in place. Set it a little bit better this time. You can see that the glue is not set in stone. It does come apart easily if you find that you've made some sort of error. So those are the two steps of the Acorn precision piecing system. We've got the step where we glue things together for accuracy. And then we've got the step where we press things open really accurately to make sure that our measurements are precise. Oh, there we go. So I guess what's nice about this is I'm constantly shuffling when I'm sewing two pieces of fabric together to make sure that they're lined up properly. And the glue eliminates the need to do that. So it does have its purpose even in this type of simple application. I just find it a bit time consuming for something like this. But without a doubt, I would use it when I was joining my columns to one another and I want those intersections to line up. I would most definitely use it there. All right, Miss L, will you please select a winner for me today? And we will get that announced. I believe it does. I've not watched anything that I have made with it yet. This is a fairly new product to me. That's right. And Lannon's just reminding me that it's in your seams, so you're not going to see it. Like you are sewing outside or inside of the glue, so it'll all be hidden in the back of your quilt. All right, so I'm just going to apply this here. Thank you. Oh my goodness. That is the perfect person to be a winner today. So I have now applied my Easy Press pen liquid, and I'm just going to open that up, and it's already laying beautifully flat, but I'm still going to give it a shot of heat from the iron just to make sure it's extra flat. Okay. All right. My winner for today, I already have your contact info a million times over. Jean Payne, or Jean Pine, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your last name. You're my winner today. Everybody congratulate Jean. She is an amazing supporter of our business, and I am very happy that she's won today. So Jean will get an order placed for that Acorn piecing system, and we'll get that in the mail to you, okay? Oh, can you create a note in SQC or something? Because we don't really even need her to message. All right, you guys, there's my progress for the day. Are we back on the main camera? Okay. You can see my blocks all joined together, and look how they shuffle. It's almost like they're dancing. Yeah. My wonky crooked cars make it look shuffly even more. I love it. I love these fabrics. I'm so happy with how this is going. All right, my darlings, I have to take off for an appointment. Again, thank you for joining me today. If you don't yet have the pattern, click the link above this video. Visit us at sparrowquiltco.com. Get your email address in there. We'll send you an email with the pattern attached. If you're interested in fabric auction, tomorrow at 10:30 here on the Facebook page, or you can go to sparrowquiltco.com and click the auction link at the top of the page. Skill Builder Series on Wednesdays. Make sure you're there at 10:30. Again, we do it the same time every day. All right, my darlings, thank you for joining me. I will see you all tomorrow morning.